But my anticipation is almost all the people on GTT, you are good people. And the reason why I say this is that this channel's too boring for people that are not good people to watch this. Like we do talk a little bit about drama, but oftentimes what we talk about is leveling each other up. We talk about things that will make us better people. We talk about really long-winded things about how technology is making the world better, sometimes worse. And this is not popcorn uh, media. These are people that come in and they'll say things like, I know, and they'll be adamant about it, including things that they know nothing about. And then they will be illogical about it. And as my one of my longtime heroes, Asmund Gold, would say, you can't reason people out of positions they didn't reason themselves into. I love this. I don't know why I never thought of this. Not my thing, Asmund's, but once I learned it, I agree with this wholeheartedly. And this is the worst kind. These are the people that I absolutely cannot be around. And I can't be around them because the way I think about life is like this. I am going to be unalive at some point. I'm 50. Right? I've hit this the top of the hill. It's a downhill slope from here, right? Or supposedly. And I want the time that I have left on this planet, not to get like all super serious, but I want it to be meaningful. I mean, I actually follow the teachings of Marcus Aurelius on this in Stoicism, and every day, literally, I mean, this is what I really do. When I wake up every day, one of the things that I think helps me get through a lot of the hard things that I have to deal with is I remind myself, you are going to be unalive someday. It's going to happen. And the good news is that, at least right now, that hasn't happened. You are around for one more day. Make it count. And once you look at it from this perspective, like every day is a gift, I think your outlook on life just changes a lot. I think you become much less resentful of the world. I think you, at least for me, you become less angry. You become less frustrated. And instead, you kind of see everything as a blessing, or at least the people in your life that you value as a blessing. It's very hard to take people for granted, I think, when you remind yourself of this every day. This is part of the reason why Marcus Aurelius supposedly did this, is that his argument was, if you remind yourself about your own mortality, then it generally will help you put the right things into perspective. Which, as an aside, is what I was really wanted to talk about in this VOD. And that was about these two feelings that I kind of think are, I think these feelings are mostly just a waste. I don't think there's, like, I've thought about this, and I think not only are they mostly just a waste of time, I think part of the problem with a lot of today's society, at least in the United States, I think some other countries outside the United States don't have this problem as much as we do. But I think we went through this phase where everybody is, I do think we're coming out of it, but I think we were at this point where everybody was getting offended by like the slightest thing. It's just crazy. Like, for example, I constantly use the word guys on GTT, and I mean this inclusively. I mean, like, I don't know if you guys know this. Okay. Uh, the demographics for GTT is, I think our audience is 30 to 40% women. So guys is men and women. That's what I mean by it. And I say this, the guys thing, all the time. And as best I can tell, our viewership is still 30 to 40% women. I think that the women that are watching this either are forgiving me on a daily basis every time I use this, which could very well be the case, or they are evolved in their thinking, like the rest of us, I think, on GTT are, which is basically they're not going to be offended by something as silly as me not using a word that's gender neutral. Like I should be saying folks or people. I mean, I could, and I try to say this sometimes, but sometimes it just feels weird. Like it doesn't hit the level of informality that I'm striving for. Like I don't even know, hey people. Hey folks. Just like hey guys feels, I don't know. Anyway, so the two things are being offended, which we're getting into, and the second is being embarrassed. So, being offended, I think that this is mostly a wasted emotion because one, why would you give someone control over you like this? If you, I think one of the greatest powers that I've developed over the years is the superpower of the superpower of not being offendable. Can't offend me. I mean, you can say kind of the worst. This is one of the things that I also learned from Asmund. I mean, the guy actually has a huge amount of wisdom in the things he teaches. Just to be clear, I don't agree with everything Asmund says, but I don't need to. Like, this is another thing that I think people have largely wrong. This idea that you can only support someone if they're perfect, if they align with everything you think or do or say 100%. And the truth is, that person doesn't exist, guys. It doesn't exist. And if it does, that's a really sad world, right? Our diversity and disjointness in thinking is part of the thing that makes us so great. If you met your clone, I think it'd be a very boring conversation, right? So I think we can evict this thought from our mind and instead move forward with the idea that people are not perfect. And yes, there's probably some line in the world where if they have kind of fumbled too much that you can pull away from them. But if people do things that you don't totally agree with, but they're generally a good person, I think that's the most important thing. Like if they're generally a good person, I'm probably going to be good with them, even if they think things that I don't necessarily agree with. Absolutely. I I know many people like this that I have deep respect for, and I will continue to work with them, keep them in my inner circle, all this stuff, even though they don't have the same political views that I have. They don't have the same life views that I have. Like I'm out of my mind. You know, I basically work 16 hours a day. Almost no one is wired this way because I'm like not right in the head. I mean, I know this. I don't expect people to do the same thing that I do. One, because they would also have to be equally nuts. And we've got enough nuts people already. Like we need some a little bit more balance, maybe. I mean, yeah. If you're doing something really important, I do think you should be very fiery. But anyway, so going back to being offended. So somebody says something and you don't agree with it. Why do you get offended? Like part of me feels like there's a group of people that are doing this just to be social justice warriors and like flex on how ethical and moral they are to the world, but who cares? I mean, like, oh my gosh, they said guys instead of folks. Yeah, let's burn them at the stake, right? Like, this is so stupid, right? Like, what? I mean, are we really that bored that that's what we're going to spend our time on? Because I'd like to spend my time on things that are meaningful while I have the remaining days that I have left, however many there are. I'm not going to spend those days doing a grammar and whatever check on everyone in the world so people can see how evolved I am. On top of that, I feel like many of the social justice warriors that are doing this, they're not even doing it because they really are ethical and virtuous. They're doing it so they can like be seen. Like, look at me, right? Otherwise, like seriously, think about this for a second. If they really did care, wouldn't they talk to that person in private? Wouldn't they just like send them a DM and say, "Hey, my," like for example, one of my good friends, I said something on X a while back that I guess was contentious, and one of my very good friends, that's a professor, he did not disagree with me publicly. He disagreed with me privately. He pinged me, sent me a direct message, and said, "Hey, Goju, like, I know your intentions are good here, but you might be not understanding this. So here, let me share something with you." And it was a detailed conversation. He sent me like many paragraphs explaining the nuance of this situation, and it demonstrated that he deeply cares. It was not a, "You're an idiot, you need to just delete your account." It was, "I think your intentions are good, but you might have missed the mark here, and here's why." I think that's the way that you level people up. You don't like flex on them in front of however many people there are on X and show how evolved you are, is you try to actually have a real conversation with them and show that you respect them as a person, but there's potentially some room for growth, right? I mean, that's at least what I try to do. That makes sense. Uh, so that's the first group of people that I think do this. Um, and the second group, like the people that it does actually matter to them. Sorry, I think I got both groups in there. The first group is they do the flexing and, so they can show how ethical they are. And then for stuff that actually matters, the second group is I think they will talk to you in a private setting because they truly want to level you up. And I do think that in a world where people are very not leveled up, we can help each other and level each other up quite a bit. Like for example, what Cyber does on pretty much all my VODs, I love it. I absolutely love it. He is leveling me up and all of you up on a daily basis. I, in fact, to the point to where I am looking more forward to hearing what Cyber has to say and trying to see how this relates to some sort of awesome Greek mythology of these stories that I have no knowledge about, because then he's going to send me down a rabbit hole and I'm going to learn. Like, and part of the truth is this is why I created GTT. I had a conviction that there are other people out there like me that really want to learn stuff, and they might feel disconnected. They might feel like they're alone in the world. I mean, I know that I've felt this many times, which probably sounds strange, given, I mean, stuff. But yeah, there's many times in my life, even now, where I feel like I don't kn does anybody even think similar things that I think? 'Cause I'm feeling like sometimes yeah, we can go down this rabbit hole, but I don't do the victim mentality, but sometimes I feel like I'm, speaking into the void, and I don't mean that, dishearteningly. I mean, I don't know. There's a long time where I would be trying to help level people up on the issues with language models, and I really felt like I was just talking into the void. Like, is there anybody out there? Right? Does anybody hear what I'm actually saying? And thankfully now we have GDT, and I think there's a lot of people that hear what I'm saying. So, uh, anyway, going back to the offended thing, I think that if you do this, one, I think that my, like honestly, my very real view on this is if you get offended by almost anything, is actually a sign of weakness in your character. Like, you literally can say pretty much anything to me, and you will not offend me because I just made a choice a long time ago. It was probably doing Nautica, because when I was in my 20s, oh yeah, I mean, like I love my parents to death, but my mom is sometimes she's a little easy. She sometimes is like one of those people that's looking to be offended. I don't, I love my mom. She's amazing. Uh, she really is spectacular in a bazillion ways. So I want to be clear. But again, my mom's not perfect. Nobody is. And one of the things she struggled with is like letting people control her emotions. It's something that it's a work in progress. And so she would get offended by people a lot. Part of it is she has such a good heart, right? I just like we can go down this rabbit hole. My mom constantly spent her life doing things to help other people. The problem is, unfortunately, I think that she was under the belief that that would be reciprocated. And oftentimes it's not. And that's one of the things I learned from her is what I try to do. And again, she leveled me up on being so generous. She's one of the main people that taught me about how to give. But the piece that I think I learned from some partners later in life was to give unconditionally. I think that's the piece that she was missing is you should give unconditionally knowing that just the just the act of giving is a reward enough in and of itself. That's my view. So anyway, the point about all this is I was raised by a very powerful lady who incredible convictions, but she would get offended and whew, hell hath no fury. Like Goju's mom being scorned. Yeah, I mean, whoa. You want to talk about somebody that can hold a grudge. She will come at you. And for a long time, I was, she's my mom. She raised me. I looked up to her, and I still do look up to her, right? Again, I want to be super clear. She has cultivated me and leveled me up in ways that I cannot ever repay or explain. She's one of the biggest role models I've had in my entire life. And I have lots of role models, and she's at the top of the list. But I had to unlearn about the offending thing. And once I realized that being offended by things is kind of a waste of time and it's not helpful, it's sort of just useless. It's like a useless emotion. And I trained myself to be more like Marcus Aurelius. Everything started to change because I could still give and I could still interact and I could still do all these things, but I no longer would be offended. That's why you may see, like, in the comments, will people call me out and say, "Oh, you're a fraud. Oh, like, this is wrong or that's wrong." Yeah, you know what? The thing is, people like that, I've learned, they're always going to find something to jab you with. If it's not this, then it'll be that. And what I've tried to do is just try to greet them with kindness and openness. And then sometimes people uh, level themselves up. They see that they don't need this defensive posture with me. They see that I actually am really trying to be a good actor. And I think Alexi is an example of that. I think in the first interaction I was having with Alexi, he was a bit fiery. Hmm. I think the first interaction I had with Untranslatable Metaphor, he was a little fiery too. But what I found is that when you respond in kindness, even if you're not initially greeted with kindness, good natured people will quickly reciprocate the kindness. And then not good natured people won't. And that's great because they just revealed who they are. Like it's actually a really effective strategy for pruning people out of your life. Like you should try this. Is the next time someone is like openly mean and aggressive with you, treat them with kindness and see what happens. If that person is truthfully like a good-natured person, I think what you'll find is they will immediately check themselves and they will treat you with kindness. If the person is not a good-natured person, if they have their own demons, again, not necessarily a bad person, but they have their own stuff, they will not reciprocate the kindness. And now you've just figured out uh, that this person is maybe not, doesn't necessarily warrant being in your inner circle, at least not right now. This is kind of one of the things I do. I have a lot of hacks in life on this, but being kind unconditionally is absolutely one of them. And by the way, as we've discussed before, the kindness that I'm talking about, this is not politeness. I'm not talking about politeness. Politeness, I think, is mostly superficial and a waste of time. And I am not polite. I think anybody that knows me knows I absolutely I don't do sort of a lot of this fake politeness thing. Just to be clear, it doesn't mean that I will go out of my way to be mean. I don't do that either. I'll just be, uh, you know, I will try to minimize conflict because I don't try to manufacture any kind of drama. Uh, but I won't go out of my way to create false politeness to woo people. I think that this is kind of the antithesis of who I am. But I will give grounded and truthful praise and compliments. Absolutely. Especially if I see other people doing things that I think are really virtuous, like what I see Cyber doing on all these videos. He goes out of his way, and I truly believe, and I think many of you do too, he's not doing it for me. He's doing it for all of us. And I think the likes that he gets on his comments are a sign. Like I was actually looking, there was one post he made, and I think his comment got more likes than my video, which is awesome. I love that. I love that. And again, like part of the reason why I love it is it's not a competition. GTT, the goal of GTT is to build a community. And Cyber is part of that community. Cyber is a leader in that community. Not because I've chosen him as a leader. Everybody has chosen him. And you can tell by how much his comments are liked. I mean, people love hearing what Cyber has to say, and for good reason. He has very important and interesting things to say that level all of us up. So anyway, the kindness thing, I encourage you to give it a try. But going back to the offended thing, it's mostly just a waste of time. And what I find is it frees you from one, spending time with negative emotions. That's a big one, because you don't have to be so angry or hurt or whatever. You don't have to be the victim, and you don't have to also be the aggressor. You can just be like indifferent. Being able to be indifferent to people that don't matter, like, and I don't mean this to be a jerk. I mean that I'm sure those people matter, but not necessarily all people matter at all times in everyone's life. That would be a lot if we try to do that, right? There's 8 billion people on this planet. I can't possibly have all of them matter to me at all times. I have to be selective just as a matter of pragmatism, right? I mean, it makes sense to me. And so when someone that I don't know, that I have no contact with, connection with, anything about, says something that's hurtful, hateful, whatever, I'm not offended. I think, like I've talked about many times, that says more about who they are than who I am. And what I found is generally this is the truth, is if people are hyper aggressive or hyper like playing the victim, so they're aggressive to you, or they are easily offended by you. Both those things are really on them. It's just on them. It doesn't really have much to do with you, because that's my take. Unless you've done things intentionally, right? And in that case, like, I think if you take accountability, that's generally good. But my anticipation is almost all the people on GTT, you are good people. And the reason why I say this is that this channel's too boring for people that are not good people to watch this. Like, we do talk a little bit about drama, but oftentimes what we talk about is leveling each other up. We talk about things that will make us better people. We talk about really long-winded things about how technology is making the world better, sometimes worse. And this is not popcorn uh, media. This isn't, let's hear somebody rip on somebody else or do something extremely stupid. This is the kind of stuff that, like, one of my good friend, Ronnie Akoff, who I did the VOD on a little bit ago, she, she made a comment to me privately, and I can share this because this is, she's not saying anything bad, but it's actually kind of funny to me because I hear this a lot. I hear this a lot, actually. And the truth is, I do this myself. Is she was saying that she was watching some of the VODs, and she found the one that I did on her to be particularly insightful and surprisingly calming. I think she said something like this: is if it was surprising to her how calming it was for her, that felt like this wave of just kind of being centered. And that's very much by design. I really strive for this as a Stoic and as our spiritual leader or whatever for GTT. Is I think that one of the things that's very important for me is to keep things calm, even under great amounts of stress or duress or challenges. That I think, again, the sign of someone's character is not how they behave in the best of times, but how they behave in the worst of times. And That's very important to me. And I do think I have a responsibility to the world to create that calm, right? In a sea of madness where people seem to be losing their minds over so many things that are completely inconsequential, I feel like we do need voices of reason to center us. Uh, and I get that too, by the way, with all of you on GTT is while I may be the one that's recording the videos for this channel, I've met many people in the online community that are running their own channels that I'm building really strong bonds with.